Everybody, it's your boy Captain Hunter coming at you again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit that rate, subscribe, and share button. Hit that rate, subscribe, and share button. Let's make it do what it's got to do. I'm hitting a twofer for today. This is the second video I'm recording for today. I'll probably release it in a day or two because I did the other one about Deion Sanders before and how to respond to adversity. Make sure you check out that video as well as the other videos in my archives. Make sure you go back and check those out. This is an important video, I think, because we've heard so much about the manosphere. And there's individuals who have left the manosphere. There's individuals who don't want to be associated with the manosphere, even though they have created manosphere talking points and manosphere content, in my estimation. And by that, here's what I'm calling it, right? I'm not even sure if there's a good definition for it. I haven't looked it up. But I'm calling manosphere content anything that really kind of pertains to the voice that men have in concerning relationships, concerning their point of view and how they view the world and how they should maneuver in the world. And that could range from a number of different things, like, as I mentioned, their relationships, how they go about their jobs, building themselves up. My content is geared towards making men the best versions of themselves. You want to classify it as the manosphere, go ahead. I think that the reason that people want to stay away and shy away from the so-called manosphere is being labeled one of those individuals who are negative, right? And there's a lot of negative aspects to it. There's a lot of negative aspects to it. This is a great interview by the interviewer. I think his name, I don't know what his name is, but I think the name of the show is We Need to Talk. And Miss Courtney Michelle, who has been on a number of different platforms, speaking towards her understanding of what black men in particular have gone through, what men have gone through, and black men in particular have gone through, the need for women to understand the perspective of men and to step up within their femininity and in their roles and give men what they are actually looking for and what they actually want. Not what you think we should have, not what you think we deserve, but what we actually want. And we can have a conversation. These conversations are going on about what men in particular, black men, really deserve, right? What does your financial status say that you deserve? What does your mental status say that you deserve? What does your social status say that you deserve? What is your, how does your social interactions, right? What is your status in life? All this, right? Respect is something that is earned, right? It's not just given because you exist, particularly for men. But it is something that you have to earn on a day-to-day basis. So what is it that you have earned, and what is it you should expect in return from your job, from employment opportunities, from promotional opportunities, in your love life, right? What is these things that you should hope for and expect in return for your achievements and accolades? So this particular young woman, who's now 40, she's going to give a really good estimation to this. So this was brought to my attention by a friend of mine, and we had a conversation concerning, the whole Kevin Samuels debate and what's going on in the manosphere. And I agree that some of the manosphere can be toxic. I absolutely agree with that. Therefore, I see why some individuals don't want to be associated with that, because they don't want to be associated with toxicity. I completely understand that. But I've stuck up for Kevin Samuels a number of times. Now, I didn't agree with everything that Kevin Samuels said, but about 85% of what he said, I did agree with. I did not like when he got into the gutter, and I think that that's one thing that the manosphere must do a better job as getting into the gutter. We must not get into the gutter concerning how we approach women, or how we approach mating and dating and this whole interaction that we have. If we want to be above board and be above reproach, then we have to maintain that frame at all times. When people get indignant with us, doesn't mean we jump bad with them and get in the gutter with them. It means we have to maintain frame at all times. So that's one thing that I did not appreciate when Kevin would start calling people bees and hoes and you fat this and all. I didn't agree with that. But his overall message was clear and concise. What was the essential message? And I've had this conversation with other individuals before, and I'm going to have it again to talk about this whole manosphere thing. The manosphere message from Kevin Samuels in particular, right, was that women in particular black women, are overestimating their value. If you are a 4, 5, or 6, whatever that scale is, I know we don't, okay, rating women, okay, we get all that. But if you're an average woman and you are having an average life experience, then why is it that you're overlooking the average guy who's having an average experience with you? Two averages can get together and they can pool their money, pool their resources, and become an above average couple, especially if they're pushing and pulling each other to be where they need to be. That was the message. So an average woman now what makes a woman average, right? So it's true that we're dealing with an obesity epidemic within the black community. It's true, black males and females, right? It's true, males and females. So if you are an above average weighted woman, and you have a child or two, that reduces your so-called sexual marketplace value, yada, yada, yada. It does not mean, and Kevin Samuels did not say, and I'm not saying, that because you're average or because you have a child or two out of wedlock or married or you were married and now you're divorced and now you have a child, that doesn't mean that you don't deserve love, respect, or attention. I'm not saying that. I don't think, and I know that Kevin Samuels wasn't saying it. What he was saying was, and what I'm saying clearly, is that if you are in this particular space in your life, then you should not be overlooking the guy who's making $40,000, $50,000, who may have a dad bod himself, because that's an average guy. So why is it that you're overlooking these types of individuals? That was the message. We can debate about that another time if you agree or disagree. And if you're going to disagree in the comments, bring some receipts. Don't just say what he said, but show me where he said. And there are receipts of him saying, if you're a guy and you got if you're a woman and you got a guy and you both kind of average making $70,000, why not just get together and you can have a nice life together? Don't overlook them. So you may be a 9 or 10 according to looks, but your child may reduce your level to the type of man that you want. Why would a $150,000 earner, $200,000 earner, $300,000 earner get with someone who has a child when he can demand and command something that's a woman with no children, and when people want to build their own? That was the message. Not saying that not saying, let me be very clear again, that because you have a child out of wedlock or because you have a child or whatever, that you don't deserve to have any love or any attention, any affection. That's not what he was saying. There was one video in which this woman who was a little bit, pudgy, was saying that, I should have a regular type dude. I should settle for a regular type dude. Ma'am, you are a regular type woman. Stop overlooking the regular type guy. And if a $150,000 earner chooses to be with you, then that's great and that's a win. But regular people in everyday lives should not expect any more. Okay, so having gone through that was the message. So this individual, Miss Courtney Michelle, is having a good conversation, I think, talking about the toxicity that goes on in these particular spaces. And I gotta agree that I've seen this toxicity. I gotta agree, I've seen it. I don't like it. There's only a few brothers that I listen to in the Manosphere. There's only a few of them that I listen to in the Manosphere. T. Hassan Johnson, I don't even know if these people really claim to be in the Manosphere. T. Hassan Johnson, PhD, BGS, Black Gnostic Speaks, and maybe one or two others that, I'll catch a clip here, clip there. But I think that those two brothers, their content is really, really uplifting to me. And it's really filled with a lot of knowledge and wisdom and all that. I don't agree with 100% of everything that everyone says at all times, but I think that their content is really good. There's a few others, Dr. Ronald Neal, and so I would put him in that camp as well. I think there's another one, Dr. Thunder. So good content creators right there. Anyway, so she's in this space. She's going on a number of different talk shows, number of different platforms because of her perspective that she's actually listening to men and defending men and saying that women need to change. So therefore, she gets these put on these panels. Now she's going to talk about her evaluation as to what's going on in the manosphere and why she disappeared for so long. You're tired of hearing me rant? Let's get to hear what she says. So remember, she's talking about why she left this particular space.
I'm gonna have to look into that. But how are you? What's going on? What's new? What's popping? You haven't been on the channel in a while, so tell the people.
I know. I feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But just living, loving life.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people at a certain point, and you know what point I'm talking about, they reached out to me and said, "Is everything okay with Courtney?" In hindsight, how would you recap that period? What happened? What was it that you had seen in the space that particularly pushed you over the edge? And like, where are you now mentally?
Oh, you didn't tell me that. I know you reached out to me. It was what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But
it was a lot of people. I ain't gonna lie.
Really?
A lot of people. Yep.
You didn't tell me that.
At the time, I didn't want to overwhelm you. I just wanted to kind of focus on getting from you what was going on and how we could solve the problem. But a few people reached out to me. Even people you hadn't met were like, "Yo, what's going on with Courtney?" So yeah, talk to them.
Okay. Well, I don't know if something's going wrong with me. I just think that you didn't have to do this. Okay, so I have been in this particular space for a while, and I just kept seeing things. How can I felt like I was brainwashed. I felt like I let red pill brainwash me. And me kind of realizing the people that are speaking in this space is absolutely fake, that they don't believe what they say. I started getting pissed off and out of anger because I felt like I was brainwashed a little bit in believing something and then realizing that some of the stuff that I believed in wasn't true.
Okay, so I want to pause it right there. Sorry, I hit the stop button for a second there. So I want to pause it right there because I think that can be a thing. The red pill, the red pill saying this is the way the life is, and brainwashing and all this. Let me tell another story here. So I grew up in a church, grew up very, very religious, right? Was in the church, multiple times a week, 3-4 times a week minimum, right? And eventually I followed through with that. And when I became an adult, kept going, was part of the ministry and all that. So when I left church, when I left religious organizations, I became very, very skeptical about joining any other type of group. Political, Republicans, Democrats, religious or affiliations, religious organizations, and I would have to say the same thing about the so-called manosphere and the so-called red space, red pill space, right? The whole red pill thing, black pill, blue pill, which side do you want to live in this world, or you want to see the things that they really are, the whole matrix analogy there. So I can understand that. So what she's saying is that she got so enamored with it, she got so caught up with it, and it became such a thing that you have to she had to do a self-evaluation, because the things that were being said were not being exemplified in people's everyday lives, right? She's meeting these people, she knows what they're dealing with, and she's going to talk about this, right? The people that she met and all this. So I can understand it. So again, is it time to leave these spaces alone and really get back to reality? So let me tell another story here. So I went to, I'm hearing the same thing that everybody else is saying, right? The women in these spaces, and women on Facebook, and the women on Instagram, and all these different shows, right? They're asking these questions about what type of man do you want? He's gonna be 6 foot this and this, and he's got to have a 6-pack, and he's got to make this amount of money, and all this kind of crazy stuff, right? So I go, but then when you detach from this, and you get out into the real world, right? I am not a tall guy. I'm 5'7", not a tall guy. But when I went to Virginia Beach, and there's guys shorter than me walking around with beautiful women, right? And the woman is their height or shorter. One was kind of tall. So I'm noticing this on Virginia Beach. I'm walking around seeing this, right? And as I start paying attention, man, it's not really about all this other stuff, right? So you can get brainwashed, and as men, you can get brainwashed, you can get jaded, you can get a sense of negativity that overwhelms you, and so you have to be able to detach from this space and crawl out and get out into the real world, right? Get out into the real world and really hit the gym and really work on yourself and really educate yourself and really do other things, because if this is your social interaction, if this is what kind of content that you're filling your mind and your soul with every single day, then that can be problematic. And here this woman is saying, I became this, and when I saw the real world, when I saw these individuals who are just making this content for clicks and baits and likes, and they just were just messing her up, so she had to detach from it. Enough of me, let's get back to her.
I feel like that being in this space made me feel like, made me feel less than. It made me feel bad about myself, being 40, being a mother. I literally drunk the Kool-Aid, and I felt for a long period of time that no one would want me.
So I got to pause it again right there. Remember what I said about what Kevin Samuels, what his actual mission was. And the mission, what he was saying is that it wasn't that nobody would ever want her. She's a beautiful woman, right? The narrative has gotten spun out of control, and I see this, right? I see it when I listen to this. That's not the narrative that these individuals were spinning. That's not that the originators, or in particular Kevin Samuels. I can't speak to all these other individuals, right? And I don't think most of the people that I listen to would even say what she's saying. But this is how it can be spun when you're reading the comments, when you're reading even other angrier so-called angrier men space advocates would say is that, you're a woman, who wants you, you're right, you hit the wall, and all the, you got a kid and all this kind of stuff. That does not mean that this woman and other women don't deserve love, attention, affection, to be and someone that won't come in and love you and your child, right? And there is a space. There are men who are saying, don't date women with, I know that exists. Don't date single mothers. I read it every day. I know it. And I don't think that that's fair to these individuals and fair to them. And she starts, and you can get depressed. You're going to see the pain that comes, that nobody's going to want her. Nobody's going to be affectionate towards her. No one's going to take her seriously in relationship. And I think that has been so hurtful, not only to the women as what she's experiencing, but to the men. Because if you're a man and you're a regular type dude, you're a 45-year-old guy, or 43-year-old guy, you got your stuff together, and you meet this beautiful woman at a mall or at a park or whatever, and you're going to pass her up just because she has a child? Maybe you have a child. Maybe you guys can get together and be that family. So don't let this space rob you, so-called, of your, going back to my religious days, rob you of your blessings. And so it's, it's really, really hard. It was hard for me to watch this because I could see the pain within her voice. And this is really, really unfortunate that we have done this. And shame on the brothers who have taken the message of Kevin Samuels and spun it to your own anger and issues, right? Listen, if you don't want to date the single mothers, there's no need to blast it all over the world. And if you do want to date a single mother because she's beautiful and because you can see yourself building a life with her, then go for it and do it. But do not make these sisters feel as if they are nothing and that they're worthless and that no one is ever going to want them, and the wall is coming up and who's going to want you, and your sexual marketplace value peaks at 33, and from all down here, it's downhill from there. Nobody's going to want to make. What are you talking about? Women get married all the time in their 40s and 50s. What are you talking about?
I felt like I wasn't worthy of a good man because of my age, because I have a daughter. And then I had to get outside, and it was like, no, Courtney, you are worthy of love. You do deserve a good man because you're a good woman. And being in space, like I said, I felt so down on myself. And I don't want to be, I'm not red pill. I can't stand the space. I think it's a sham. But I don't want to contribute to women feeling like it's over for them. It might look different how you move, but love can happen. Relationships can happen. So I was pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened to me.
To me, it's touching. I don't know if it's touching you guys the same way, but to me, it's touching. You are worthy. You are worth loving. But I don't want to put any buts in there. You are worth loving, and it's a shame that this has been going on. So she's going to talk a little bit more about the sham, and I had to agree with that. I've never agreed with certain individuals, in particular Pearly Things. I've never agreed with her. She was the one that I always thought, and I've seen this video, so I know she's going to. I think they're going to bring her up. But Pearly Things, I think, was always a sham. Never what she was, never what she said she was. She was 24, 25 years old, talking about you're after that you're done. But she's her father's rich. She's not anything that she claims to be, or not anything that what women want. Just actresses and actors for the gram, for the clicks, baits, and likes, and it's really just sad because you're actually doing damage to individuals' psyche. Men and women, you're actually doing damage to their psyches when they feel as if they are unworthy, feel as if they should never be loved, feel as if no one's ever going to love them, should ever love them because of some things that happened earlier in their life.
Was there a specific thing, a specific creator, a specific group of creators, or a specific pattern that you saw that kind of pushed you over the edge?
Hell yeah, Obsidian, his bitch ass, absolutely. He's a sham. And once I start realizing and listening and knowing people that know him in real life, and even the stuff that Kevin Samuels used to tell me about him, I used to be like, you're absolutely right. So he was one of them. But all the black manosphere guys are living a whole fucking lie. They tell you not to date baby mamas, but all of them was with one. Okay, they tell you this, they all are. They don't want you, all these women and stuff, but they're in relationships with single parent, and it just was a lie. And just to see people making money, taking advantage of men that really need to, that's really looking for answers, right. And they're looking for answers in men that are lying to them.
I want to stop it right there again, Really these men are looking for answers. There's young men out there who really want help. They want to know the particulars about how to navigate this life, how to meet women, how to exceed in their jobs, how to create opportunities for themselves, how to build careers, how to become successful, how to get in the gym, how to be motivated, how to be dedicated, how to deal with procrastination. There are really men out there, young men, who don't have a father. I grew up without a father, right? So a lot of things that I had to learn. I had to learn these things, and they were painful lessons. And I see my son, and I see the confidence that he has. I see the pride that he has, and I know. And when I talk to him, right, he's like, "Man, I got it from you," and he doesn't know the pain that I had to go through as a product of a single mother. And listen, I often talk about the positive role models that I had at church and at different summer camps and things, but it was still a lot of hard lessons, and I'm still learning that at my age right now. So fathers matter, but there are men out there who are really looking for answers to problems, to situations, how to build themselves up, how to become better, how to become more, how to deal with feelings of doubt, feelings of low self-esteem, dealing with feelings of what's that psychological phenomenon? Imposter syndrome, right? Really dealing with that, and right. And a lot of people deal with imposter syndrome, and Black people in particular deal with imposter syndrome at higher rates than other groups because of our history and lineage. So we're looking for answers. We're looking for men who we think have the answer, who have at least done something. And these people are out here just lying to them. It's really, really sad. And you're hurting. You're not doing anything to benefit the community. You're not doing anything to benefit the community when you do this type of thing.
Even in the white part with the just pearly things, and how she's a complete scam artist, telling all the men what type of woman to get, and she's the exact woman that she's telling men not to be with. It's like, it just was a eye opener. So yeah, I was pissed off, and I wanted to smoke with everybody.
Yeah.
But I have calmed down.
That's good.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I'm a little feisty still.
No, I understand. I understand. So what is your focus now? Because I know you've kind of gone away from the Manosphere stuff, collaborating with Manosphere creators, other than like O'Shea. What do you think your focus is now?
Well, the stuff that I do, like I said, I haven't really done any lives because my focus is off the internet. My life is off the internet. So some of the stuff that I post, it is, like you said, dating after 40. That's important to me because, again, of my age and, being realistic about things like that. But I don't want to keep bashing. So I'm not here trying to say, oh, Black women are all this and Black men are all this. Fuck that. No, I'm not. I'm just talking in general and stuff that is helpful. I did something about, the soft girl era, but this woman said some 10 points that is her being softer. But I loved it because she's married with children. And even in her marriage, she's like, I want to be softer in my marriage. So it's still like that essence of being in a relationship and being a woman that's married, but still understanding that it's some stuff that she has to still change to maintain and to keep a happy home. So that's stuff that I'm kind of focused on, stuff that I think matters. And I'm not into this bashing and fighting no more. I don't want to fight you. And I'm not going to continuously put out content to make us look like shit. I think we're amazing.
And I'm going to stop it right there. You can go on and see the rest of the interview. It's called Deion Sanders, Sellout or Hero, featuring I Am Courtney Michelle. Shout out to We Need to Talk and the products and what he's trying to put out there. And I have to agree with that, man. It's time to stop fighting each other. It's time to stop bashing each other. And that's why I want to put out content that is really just positive, really helping people become the best versions of themselves, in particular men. Why do I think that this is important, right? Because my history is a police officer. And of course, reading a lot of the police statistics about how many Black men are, number one, killed, number two, killed by police, killed by each other, and our arrest rates, our crime rates. And I went to, I talked to a lot of teachers, right? Studying the school to prison pipeline. I recognize that a lot of this has to do with our upbringing and to our school interactions, getting kicked out of school, suspended more often, right? So I'm taking a long look at this type of thing. This is why I studied, forensic psychology, and finishing up another degree right now. So it's really, really important to me that we fix a lot of the problems. And as she mentioned, making content that bashes each other and put it on the internet for the world to see has been a huge embarrassment to ADOS Black people, American descendants of slave, foundation of Black Americans. Say what you want, call them what you want. To Black Americans, it has been a huge embarrassment to us all. So I appreciate Miss Courtney Michelle sharing her emotions, sharing her experiences, and I'm sure that many other people are dealing with this. So to answer the question, is it time to leave the manosphere? You have to do it for you. I think it's good to take a break for your own mental health, to kind of recalibrate as she did, and take a look at life as it really is. Get out, see the world, and you'll see that there's guys who are 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", who are walking around with beautiful women, you'll see you'll see beautiful women who are in relationships with men. You'll see overweight women in relationships. You'll see couples with in relationships, couples with mixed families, blended families, all that. So you'll see all this once you get off the internet and really kind of detox from this. It can have a very, very negative effect. I would say this is the kind of content that you really want to subscribe to, number one, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to uplift you. And I would suggest, We Need to Talk is put out some good, even-handed content. Tia San Johnson and a few others out there, right? You really have to vet the content, right? If you are watching, here's a litmus test for you. If you're watching this content and you get mad and angry and you want to go out there and you think all women are the problem, and you're they're all black women are all big and all masculine, and they all they want is all this stuff, and you don't ever have anything positive to say about them, and you fail to do any internal reflections, introspections about yourself, then you're consuming the wrong content. And you're consuming it for far too long. And it takes some peeling back, some scaling back, and some course correction, as she's done. She's not saying she's dealing with the femininity. Notice what she said. She's dealing with the femininity aspect, working on women to make themselves the best versions that they can be, even in marriage. You have to work on yourself. You have to recognize your mistakes and work on yourself to become the best version of yourself that you can be. So that's what I'm going to say. That's what I want to be about. I don't want to hurt women. I don't want to beat them down. And I want to have and enter into fair conversations where we can help each other and become the best versions of ourselves that we can be. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions about this. Shout out to Miss Courtney Michelle and to We Need to Talk. Don't know the brother's name, but because I thought this was a good conversation. They end up going off and talking about Deion Sanders in a little bit, but the beginning of that was really, really insightful for me. Much love and peace, everyone.